Hey, what's going on everyone? Hope you're doing well and thanks for tuning back into another video. Today we're going to be talking about a really interesting topic, and I think this is really going to help you level up your calisthenics, and that's actually how to build superhuman shoulder strength. Now, calisthenics involves a lot of shoulders, and doesn't matter if you can lift a lot of weight within weightlifting. It's not the same in calisthenics. I feel like since I've made the switch to calisthenics, which was 3 years ago now, my shoulder strength, the way my shoulders look, and the overall mobility and flexibility and shoulder health has improved significantly. And that's because, you really have to understand how to use your shoulder correctly and how to avoid any injuries. And today I'm going to cover some topics like shoulder blocking and how to prevent shoulder injury and how to actually engage and use your shoulders in all of these exercises, because you can do pike push-ups, maybe you can do handstand push-ups, but are you doing them correctly? Do you ever get pain when doing things like planche or things like, the handstand push-up, 90-degree push-up? If so, stay tuned, watch the video, and I hope you learn something new. So, the scapula actually has 4 ways of movement. We're only going to be talking about 1 or maybe 2 if I'm going to refer to it as it's incorrect. But basically, the 4 ways of motion is protraction, elevation, depression, and retraction. So we're not going to worry about the elevation and depression of the scapula. We're going to focus more on the protraction and what happens when you retract the scapula and how it can hurt you. So to engage your shoulder, you might be wondering like, okay, well, how do I engage the shoulder? I can engage my bicep. When you simply bring your wrist to your shoulder, you can flex the bicep quite simply. But how can you flex the shoulder? And that's actually to present it forwards. So put it into this protracted position. And if I simply just engage my arm and I've got it presented forwards, I can feel that my shoulder is, it's gone a lot harder. It's more engaged, and that way I'm able to use it in certain exercises. And, I'm very big on training with no pain. That comes with being injured so much in the past. The goal is to train pain-free. And, if you're not doing it correctly, if you are causing yourself pain, then why are you doing it in the first place? So sometimes it's actually good to scale it back, to go down on certain progressions. If you're trying to straddle planche and you can't do the straddle planche without pain, then it goes to show maybe you're not doing something right. So the reason why you get some pain in shoulder exercises, even the overhead press, anything like that, the handstand push-up is a variation of the overhead press. It simply happens when, as you push, the shoulders start to go back, because now the shoulder is not presented forwards. And if you even touch your shoulder while having it retracted, you will see that it's not hard, and that means it's not engaged, and your body is smart, so it's going to compensate and find that engagement from somewhere else, somewhere where it's not supposed to. And that's why you get that pain. That's why you're very frustrated, and you probably even give up on some exercises. It also happens in the handstand push-up. The handstand push-up, you go from this position, you press up, but if you lose that shoulder position as you're pushing up, oof, man, that pain is going straight to the elbows, straight to the collarbone, pulling on your chest and lats, and that's kind of pulling this, pulling all your muscles, and it's pulling the shoulder nasty, and yeah, it's not so great. So that's basically a little short explanation to why you get pain during some of your push exercises. And another thing you might be wondering, if I'm going to be building superhuman shoulders with calisthenics, how do I hit the lateral head? How do I hit the rear delt? And the thing about calisthenics is, come on, these exercises are all compound. A handstand push-up, planche, your whole shoulder is going to be screaming. So, you don't need to focus on the specifics, doing lat raises or rear delt variations that you would do in bodybuilding, because you have to remember they're different sports. Bodybuilding, you more focus on your isolation, focusing on the little details of the specific muscle groups, and that's why there's so many different variations. Whereas calisthenics, if you can do a handstand push-up, 90-degree push-up, planche, your shoulders are going to be bulletproof, because the amount of strength you need to be able to do these moves is so much more than doing the isolation movements in the gym. So that's why And that's why you don't need to focus on the lateral head with calisthenic exercises. So I'm going to show you some exercises you can do no matter your level. If you don't have the strength in these exercises, it should make you think twice about working on them. Although they can seem basic, they're not. They're, fine-tuned to make them more advanced, more specific on building more shoulder strength. So to begin and to fully understand the correct shoulder position, you can simply learn how to do it in a position where you're on your hands and your knees and trying to protract the scapula and try to keep that shoulder presented forwards. Now, this is going to feel simple. Always make sure to externally rotate the biceps as well. You can go up onto your feet, and then what you can try to do once this feels comfortable is go for a push-up, but maintain that shoulder position to be forwards. Push all the way up, and to be honest, you'll significantly feel much stronger, much more powerful. Whereas, if you do push-ups with a retracted scapula and you perform them like this, ooh, man, even me, I'm feeling it in my wrists and my elbows and, in areas I don't normally feel it in. And that just goes to show how, the compensation of your body works when you're not using the correct technique and correct form. So now that you're applying it to all of your push-up variations, now let's level it up and go into the next one. Okay, so to perform the block correctly, what you need to focus on is trying to understand the correct position. So the correct position is to have the scapula protracted, trying to externally rotate the elbows. You want to, bring your elbows in, but the goal is to externally rotate the elbows. And then you want to try to keep your shoulder right in front of your wrist, so you get a nice 90-degree angle. What you want to try to avoid is creating this acute angle between your shoulder and wrist, because this is going to probably cause your shoulder to retract, and that's going to cause that pain I was talking about when your shoulder is no longer in that protracted position. So you always need to have this sort of strong blocking position. And so if you struggle getting that, you can practice just how I showed you, or to simply understand it more, go into this position on your hands and knees, protract the scapula, externally rotate the elbows, and then from there get your balance and then just bring your elbows to your body, and there, boom, you have that blocking position. So now it's time to apply it into practice. So what you're going to do is go up into a pike push-up and then try to externally rotate the elbows, bring your elbows in and stay over your wrist, and it's going to feel way more intense, and you probably haven't been doing pike push-ups like this, which goes to show that you haven't been doing them correctly. So you need to try to really master this. And at first it's going to feel really uncomfortable, but if you really block and if you engage against it, it's going to be such a solid position, which is going to lead you into doing things like this: a pike push-up, lift your feet up, and then push into handstand. Quite simple. And you probably think like, God, he just did that, but it's because I have experience and I know exactly how to block. So to practice with the pike push-ups, and then also you can practice by trying to level your pike push-up up by lifting the feet. So go into the position, lift your feet, and then bring it back to the floor. And you can also practice the variation where you bring your heels to your butt and then you do the pike push-up in this way. These are two great progressions. Okay, and then the third exercise, I'm going to show you how to apply it to dips. Okay, so again, another pushing variation. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is how you can apply this to all of your push variations and how to simplify the progression ladder in push. So to apply it to dips, what you're going to want to do is, again, same sort of thing. Don't have it in a retracted position. Protract the shoulders, present them forwards, keep the elbows tucked in. You always kind of want it to be pushing from here. You never want to externally rotate you never want to externally rotate the elbows, because that just promotes that shoulder retraction to happen, because then again the compensation happens. So hopefully it makes sense by now. And to apply it to dips, whereas your form could maybe be looking like this, not so great, again, causing so much stress on the joints. whereas you want it on your shoulders. So to do that, protract the shoulders, present them forwards, stay engaged, keep your elbows tucked in, and then boom, always staying forwards, okay? And that way I'm able to use all of the power in my shoulders. And if you think about it, you know, all of the movements are also similar. So, you know, if it's a horizontal push or if it's a vertical push, you know, it's the same concept. If, you know, you want to progress from a handstand push-up down to a 90-degree push-up, it's all the same. You know, you're just increasing the range of motion, but you're constantly thinking to be in that blocked position, shoulders shoulders presented forwards, keeping that 90-degree bend, externally rotating the elbows, you know, keeping the elbows tucked in. Same with planche push-ups. You know, planche push-ups are from here, you know, handstand push-ups are from there. 90-degree, you kind of combine both in a certain sense, but not really. But that's a topic for another video, a more specific topic. This is just a general way you can strengthen your shoulders. Now, I know you might be thinking, well, you didn't really give me a workout. You know, I wanted a workout. I wanted step by step how to do it. Well, the thing about calisthenics is it's specific. It's about specific strength. And what I would tell you is I wouldn't tell the next person that has different issues, different weaknesses, different strengths to you. And that's why it's your job to find out what your strengths and weaknesses are, work on your weaknesses, still double down on your strengths, but there's a time and place to go and do that. You know, majority of the time you want to strengthen the weaknesses so that you get overall much stronger, and that's your job to find which exercises work for you. Now, I only showed you a few, but they're really the ones that you need, and you can apply it to any of the push exercises. Don't overdo it. Focus on specific volume, specific training, and you will build superhuman shoulders. This is exactly how I've done it. And if you stayed till the very end and you enjoyed this video, I really appreciate it, and I would appreciate your support with a like and a comment below. It's going to help grow the channel. My goal is to hit 100K, so you know I wouldn't be able to do it without your guys' support. And I will continue to do my thing, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. I've got an exciting one coming up. Ciao.